Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. It's Tim Wilmot here from Wizard Systems, and welcome to another GoldMine 101, our regular series of short GoldMine presentations giving you hints and tips for getting the most out of the system. And this morning I'm going to cover email distribution lists, a really easy way of saving time by sending an email to a predefined group of recipients. Now, this presentation will be very short, about a quarter of an hour or so in duration. So it's just an overview of this feature, not meant to be in-depth training. My company, Wizard Systems, offer many extensive training options around GoldMine if you'd like to explore that with us. Now, the audio part of this presentation is one way only. If you've got any questions, please type those into the question box on your meeting control panel. I'll do my best to answer those at the end. Also at the end, I'll be giving you an update on any GoldMine product news just to keep you in the loop with what's happening on the GoldMine scene. And this call is being recorded, so after the presentation you will get an email from our system with a link to the recording, which you can play back at your leisure, share with your colleagues, and we'll most likely pop it up, post it on our YouTube channel as well. Okay, so let's get started. As I normally do, just a very quick mention about Wizard Systems. I know many of you on the call are familiar with us and we've looked after you for many years, but for those people new or watching a recording of this, we are a top CRM provider of GoldMine and other CRM solutions. We have built our business around GoldMine. We do offer lots of support options around GoldMine, so any help or assistance you need in getting the most out of GoldMine, we're here available for you. I've got colleagues available to you to help in any aspect of GoldMine implementation, upgrades, into customizing it, integrating with other applications. We do also supply a wide range of GoldMine add-ons where GoldMine doesn't do something. Invariably, there's an add-in option to plug that gap. So we do supply a wide range of those. We offer training as well, as I mentioned earlier. Any kind of training you want around GoldMine, that can be at your offices or our offices near Bristol, or online if that suits you best. And finally, we've got a GoldMine help desk here ready to answer your calls. We offer a GoldMine, a formal GoldMine support help desk service. Okay, so let's take a look at email distribution lists in GoldMine. So in sending, so imagine that you've created a distribution list already, and I'll cover the creation of distribution lists very shortly. But when you want to send an email to a predefined group of people in one of these distribution lists, very straightforward. So you go to your normal compose process of creating an email, and then you can click on this little button here next to the recipient entry, and that's where you can select this distribution list. Having done that, you will be presented with this little pop-up window which splits your distribution lists into private lists and public lists that are accessible by all of your other co-workers, GoldMine users. But private are just your list that you've created, and there they all are there, and obviously you can select one of those, click OK, and off you go. Also, you could select them as a CC list as well, so I can right click over this little icon here to select an additional recipient address for this email, and then come down to add, and there we are again, distribution list. I'm going to get that same window popping up there. There could be a different distribution list to what I chose before. So that's how to send them. How to create them in the first place, very straightforward. So from your email options, you can right click and you can go to set up distribution lists. There we are down there. And I'm then presented with a new window here, the distribution list center. And this is where we can see, we can actually toggle between our private lists and our public lists. So these are the private ones, just for me. And if I click on this toggle button here, I'm going to switch to the public ones, visible by all of my other colleagues using GoldMine. So you can obviously create a new distribution list here. Once you've done that, you will then be able to add in email addresses from your GoldMine system to that distribution list. So here's one I created earlier, one that's called Wizard, and there's 3 addresses in there already. Now there's a number of options on what type of addresses you can add into this list. So if I wanted to add in a 4th recipient to this distribution list, this group of people here, the options I've got are, well, first of all, I can add in an email address, a primary email address from another contact record. So I can click on that one. I'll be presented with the contact search center, and this is where I can select a particular contact from my database, select that, and it's added to the list. I can also select an additional email address. So as you know, against every contact record in the GoldMine database, you can store multiple email addresses. There's a concept of the primary address of a contact record, and then there can be umpteen additional email addresses associated with a contact record. So that's what that button's for. Again, you're going to go through the same process. You select one of these email addresses here, and you'll be then presented with what email address do you want from that particular contact record. You could also add in an unlinked email address. There may be a few of those in your GoldMine database, or you could add in also users. So remember, with email and GoldMine, you can be sending, of course, to external email addresses, customer email addresses, but you could be sending emails also to your internal GoldMine users as well. You can also select these email addresses by right-clicking over this window here, and there we are. We've got these options. So you could also add in a manual email address just on the fly there. You could add in an address to that list. So not actually a contact record in your GoldMine database, but you can define a separate little list there. So that's very simply distribution lists in GoldMine, a great way of saving time when you're wanting to send an email to a predefined list of recipients. And there's the options that you've got there. Remember the ways of toggling between your private lists, distribution list, and the general public list there as well. Okay, so quick run through that feature. I'm now able to answer any of your questions around this feature, or and indeed anything to do with GoldMine, but please locate the question section on your meeting control panel. I'll do my best to answer those. So question from Varnell. I notice on emailing a distribution list, it's not linked to a contact. Is that right? That is correct. If you'd have created an email to and the primary recipient is that distribution list, it will not be linked. It will be tracked in the history of your GoldMine system, of course, but it won't be linked to a particular record because, of course, GoldMine wouldn't know. You could have email addresses spanning multiple contact records. So no, it won't be attached to a contact record by default. I suppose what you could do is you could choose a primary recipient that would be linked to the primary recipient's address, and then maybe, as I showed in the demo on the CC section, you could have selected a distribution list there as another option to consider. Looks like Sean, if I delete an email address from GoldMine, the GoldMine record, will it be removed from the distribution list? Yes, I'm pretty sure it would be. Yeah, if you remove address, it should then pretty much instantly remove it from that distribution list. Lauren, can a distribution list be used in an automated process? No, I don't think it can, Lauren. I guess mainly because it needs to be linked. An automated process is a sequence of automated actions that happen against a particular contact record. So I'm pretty sure no, Lauren, on that. Deacon, could this be used as a way of doing regular emails for marketing purposes to a group of people? No, in my experience, no. Don't consider this as a cheeky way of doing some kind of regular mailing to a group of people. It's a bit unwieldy to use for that purpose, and there are many other email marketing solutions for GoldMine. There's about 4 or 5 email marketing solutions that are better designed for the delivery of regular emails to a bunch of recipients. So no, don't use this for any marketing purposes. Question from Michael. So an email to a distribution list will not be in a contacts history? No, it wouldn't. It would be in the history of GoldMine, but not in the history of a contact. Right. I don't think there's any more questions coming through there, but if any late emails come through, I will answer those separately via email. Thanks, Lauren. So just to keep you up to date with any GoldMine news, we've got an introductory training course next Tuesday and Thursday. Places on those. If you've got any new starters in your company, this is a great way to introduce them to GoldMine, all the day-to-day aspects of using GoldMine. It's a full-day training at our Bristol training center here. So please contact any of us here for more information on that. The latest release of GoldMine is 2018.2 Hotfix 3. So you get access to these GoldMine updates by having a GoldMine maintenance contract. So make sure your company has one of those active, and then you get access to all of these upgrades with new features, compatibility fixes, and the like. Also subscribe to our GoldMine blog. Lots of helpful hints and tips up there. We posted one very recently. Let me just see. I think, have it here to show you. So here's our GoldMine blog. Lots of regular hints and tips up there. But just to alert you to something that we're getting lots of calls on our GoldMine help desk. People moving to the new version of GoldMine, which is more secure than older versions of GoldMine. And the password now, when you get into GoldMine, when you log into GoldMine, is case sensitive. And we have had occasions where people have been locked out of GoldMine and they need to go to their GoldMine administrator, their GoldMine master user, to reset their password. Now, that can cause some difficulty if that administrator is not available, if that person's on holiday, or there's only one, or they're not accessible. It means you're locked out of your GoldMine database until such time as you can reset your password by the administrator. So there's a helpful little blog article there. Go up to our blog, subscribe to it, and you'll get then regular updates from us as regards new postings to our blog. As I say, it's lots of helpful hints and tips. You can do a search and look at different categories there as well. But going back to this password thing, just be aware that the case sensitivity of new GoldMine and users being locked out there. As I say, we're getting quite a lot of calls on our help desk, and take a look at that and just make sure you look at our advice and such things as maybe considering, if you have administrators away on holiday, maybe having a second administrator or a second user having those privileges just in case one of your colleagues gets locked out there. Okay, so that's our GoldMine blog. Any suggestions, please, for future topics for GoldMine that would be of interest to the GoldMine community at large, please email that to me. Here's all our contact, or here's all of my contact details. So my name again is Tim Wilmot, tim@wizard-systems.com. Thanks very much for your time today. Look forward to hearing from you and seeing your attendance on the next GoldMine 101. Thanks very much indeed. Bye-bye.